my former parish, questioning why I didn't wash my hands at the preparation of the gifts. I felt that I was doing something wrong, that I wasn't observing that ritual hand washing. Another priest was celebrating Mass as a substitute one day, and as he vested, he put on his chasuble, and then he put on the stole, and the server, the young man, said, "Father, why aren't you getting dressed properly? The stole belongs underneath." That's really important. Another priest got a phone call from an auxiliary bishop saying that the diocese had been contacted by someone because when he prayed the Eucharistic prayer, he was still saying that Christ died for all and not many. Scandalous. I had one more example that just... Oh yes, another priest was filling in at a church, and the young seminarian who was serving challenged him after Mass and said, "Father, you didn't properly wash the chalice after communion." And this elderly priest said, "Look, I have a hard enough time holding the chalice. I just need to sit down after communion. You know, I don't have to walk back over there and wash it properly. Give me a break." I don't say those little incidents so much in judgment. Jesus maybe reads hearts a lot better than I do. Jesus said, "You hypocrites." I don't think any of these people were hypocrites. But on the other hand, he went on to say, sometimes we make doctrine out of human precepts. Every little liturgical gesture, every little teaching is not necessarily a doctrine. And so Jesus challenged the scribes and Pharisees of his day to be careful about how they were living their faith, what kind of religion they were practicing, to make sure it's not just surface piety, but it's something deeper from within. In that respect, St. James in the second reading today gives us a definition that religion, pure and undefiled, is to care for the orphans and widows in their affliction, and to keep oneself unstained by the world. Pure, undefiled religion is to care for the people who are suffering, the people who are in need. St. James didn't say pure and undefiled religion is making sure you always use a gold chalice, making sure you always do the right gesture. That's not pure and undefiled religion. Pure and undefiled religion is taking care of those who are suffering. That's religion. That's how Jesus taught us. At the Last Supper, Jesus knew nothing about gold chalices. Good heavens. So why has that human precept become such a steadfast, almost doctrine, and something we're supposed to do? We need boundaries. We need rules, no doubt. Your family without boundaries is a mess. Parents know that. If you don't set rules in the household, you've got tribal chaos. You have to have rules in a family. A nation needs boundaries. There has to be some delineation of where one country begins and another begins. A church needs foundational rules, boundaries for how we define ourselves and who we are. But a family, a country, and all kinds of organizations to which you belong are often evolving. They're changing. And so sometimes the rules, the expectations, the guidelines change as the family changes. They're not set in stone. And sometimes that's where I find some people get caught up in religious things, making them loom much larger than they need. Religion that is pure and undefiled is to care for orphans and widows in their affliction, and to keep oneself unstained by the world. I think Jesus sort of named a lot of things that can stain us, the things that are within us. It's from within, it's from the heart that all this possibly ugly stuff comes out of us. He's not concerned about what we take in. If his disciples did not on this occasion do the ritual washing of their hands, this is not just the hygienic washing of hands. We're all so familiar now that it's important to wash our hands. We know that more now than I ever did before. These hands have been washed a whole lot more. But that's not the hand washing that Jesus was challenged about. It's this ritual washing, ritual hand washing, that they had almost made an idol of that. I think it's important for us to remember that the purest and most undefiled religious practices are the ones that we do when we're helping a neighbor, when we're assisting someone in need, when we're tending to the poor, when we're tending to people who have been left out by so many societal restrictions. When we are doing that, then we're involved in real religious practice. We're nurtured, no doubt, by the religious practice of celebrating Mass. I certainly find myself nurtured by that. But we're nurtured by this and fed by this so that we can go forth and do what real religion needs to do. And that's to care for each other. Especially those that Jesus says or James said, in their affliction. That's our task as religious people. Not to correct one another when I say the wrong word or when you don't genuflect properly. Lord knows most of our knees aren't good for genuflection. But all those other prescriptions are not the most important. So Jesus leads us, and so does James lead us to a different place to make sure that we're doing what is really important in the eyes of God.